Friday frenzy. Lisa doesn't want to do an intro. She does want to do an intro.
Yeah, no,
she
I don't
doesn't mind on an intro, but we're not going to do an intro.
Oh, we're not?
No.
Okay, all good.
How are you, everyone?
Good morning. Good morning. You've got the Novaks this morning, every Friday. What we thought we'd talk about this morning is whether social media has been a failure or has been a phenomenon for our business, and also how we come up with the content every morning for Novak Morning Minutes. How many episodes, Mark?
784 so far. We're also going to have a chat about
that's Friday. 784 bits of content every morning.
We're also going to talk about Friday Frenzy. It's a bit of what happened during the week.
Yep.
And something that I want to talk about is sick days.
Sick days. Okay. All right. Which one do you want to start with then?
Sick days.
All right. Let's go.
I've never had one.
Well, touch wood. I just said to you, be careful what you wish for. Seriously, be careful what you wish for.
But I've got to say, never had one. I had an operation once where I had to have the operation.
Yeah.
But in terms of or any of that, never.
No, I know. But in saying that, there's also been a lot of COVID going around.
Is that because I'm Serbian?
I don't know, but obviously there's a lot of COVID going around, and people, it can't be undermined. People are getting very, very sick, and I think it's because we also haven't been together in a number of years, Mark.
You and I?
No, not you and I. I'm saying people in general. So now all of a sudden everyone's gotten together again.
Look,
just be careful because you can't undermine that. Some people have been really sick.
You could be cursed.
Some people have been very, very sick with COVID.
Having said that...
and you've got to obviously have the mandatory week off.
Yeah, but there's a bit of mental stuff in there as well. But employing for 20 years now, because it is our birthday this week.
Yeah.
What's the date today? It's today.
Oh, it's today. We're going to have to sing happy birthday to ourselves shortly.
It's the 8th of July, 2002.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow, happy birthday to us.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. But back to the sickies. In 20 years being an employer, I have never had this much stress put on a business due to sickness. And it is... I know everyone's talking about the cost of this and the cost of that, but the cost of business must be absolutely enormous, because I would love to know that there'd have to be an official stat out there of what it actually is. But in terms of productivity for businesses, and what it costs the country,
it's tricky.
Huge. I'm not trying to be not empathetic to people that are sick and getting sick, but it's just it's a big observation. It's happened more.
It is happening more than ever. And the saving grace, I guess, is that people have worked out how they can work from home, whereas the good old conventional sick day, people would just literally go off air and go MIA, and fair enough if you're not feeling well. But for those people that say, look, I'm not feeling well and don't really want to spread my germs around the office, obviously they've worked out a way to be extremely flexible with that.
Yep.
So, in terms of working from home, Zooms, being available on your mobile, set up on laptops and all that sort of stuff. Thank you, guys. Good morning to everyone who's tuning in.
Jonathan,
let's talk about social media, Mark.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about social media. So let's just rewind, let's call it 4 years ago.
Yes.
When we decided that we were going to do this thing called social media.
It was. I saw something going back to 2019 and our memoirs. And I was like, ooh, that's, 4 years of doing social stuff.
It's been a crazy ride. I must say, at the time we were like, are we being stupid? Are we being idiots? And I even put so much as putting up my first Facebook video to try and sell a property for a vendor. That's really how I first started. And someone in the industry calling me and going, Lisa, what are you doing? You are making a fool of yourself. This is not how we real estate. And my opinion is you should take that video off Facebook. We don't sell properties that way. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? I've made a fool of myself.
You do question yourself all the time. Look, I think that's healthy. That's healthy that humans do that. But social was just not done. So I was like, yeah, really. But you know what? Really it was a digital door drop for our agency where we wanted to get information out effectively, real time, fast, quality information to people.
Raw, authentic.
And it ended up being raw, it ended up being authentic, but the idea was just to get it out. And rather than physically being opposite people, we were bringing those daily conversations that we're having opposite people to mass media, and that just worked really well for us. And I've got to tell you, the amount of times in business where that reflects on our business is just it's just millions and tens of millions. Like the amount of times people have actually said,
"Oh my God,"
to friends, family, customers,
it's crazy.
Us,
we can be you can be out of area, you can be in another state, you can be in another country. It doesn't matter where you are. We've constantly got people now coming up to us going, "Oh my God, I love your shows," and our kids are forever cringing. But the reality of that is that it works. And so it's one thing to be noticed, but it's another thing to get the right information out to the right people.
Yep.
And that's what we feel like we have done. Often our daughter Jade will go onto my Instagram and go, "Oh, Mum, you only got 8,000 followers," and laugh. And I say to her, "But Jade, I don't need 80,000 people that are living overseas in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I need 8,000 of the right followers that are here. And that's more than enough for our business."
And it's nice that those, look, our target market particularly is Northern Beaches, but we do find we have referrers across the country. So other agents, for instance, or other people that take interest in the beaches, they will refer their friends and family that are buying and selling on the beaches. That's been a huge
massive, absolutely massive.
It's also by natural selection, I think, as well, where people by their movements online will then become attracted to the information that we're offering, and then that's where that starts to get some traction as well.
Agreed. Not only that, but in terms of listings, and I get a huge amount of my listings off social media, either from agents that refer from out of area, which is incredible, or from obviously sellers that are in the area and that see me popping up on their social media all the time. The amount of times people say, "I don't know how you popped up on my Instagram. I don't know how you popped up on my Facebook." And they see that and that's a tick. Then they see a signboard, another tick. Then they get something in their letterbox, another tick. And boom, before you know it, you've signed that listing. So it's a collaboration of all things. Has social media worked for our business? I think the answer to that is absolutely obvious. It's been it's been bigger than we ever could have imagined it would have been.
And it's been, people say, "Oh yeah, and it's free," but the amount of time that we've invested doing
how many hours, Mark? How many hours are you putting onto your social?
This alone would have been, there's a good 800, 1,000 hours that have gone into the morning minutes. But I would say, in terms of social media daily, there have to be, actually the app tells you, doesn't it? An hour a day, 2 hours a day.
Oh, okay. So,
what do you reckon?
And everyone differs. I mean, I'm spending a lot more than that on my socials. I'm doing probably about 3 to 5 hours a day on my social media. And that's the thing, like everyone goes, "Oh, it is for free." The amount of time and effort that we put into social media, what you put in, you get out. You've got to ask yourself, and I know, Jonathan, for anyone that's looking for any assistance whatsoever on video content or social media assistance, he's your guy. He's phenomenal. Jonathan works a lot with our office as well. But you've got to ask yourself, how nicely have you been treating Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and all those other social media portals? Because what you put into them, you'll get out of them. What have you got there, Mark?
I've got 1.5 hours on Instagram.
Okay.
A day. I've got
that's just on one, guy.
Half an hour on Facebook.
Yep.
I've got 3.5 hours on WhatsApp.
Wow. I mean, WhatsApp's another thing, but yeah, it's been phenomenal for our business.
Phone calls.
So with respect to are we doing a lot of this content ourselves? The answer is yes. You cannot get a robot or someone who is in one of these call centres to be doing your social media for you. It will work, but it's not going to be as effective as what our social media has been. Wouldn't you agree, Mark?
I would not agree with you, Lise. But also another thing people are saying was, "What's next?"
What's next?
I've had people this week, because it's our 20-year anniversary, they're going, "What's next? What's the next move?"
So so what is the next move?
I have no idea. That's what I say.
You generally fly by the seat of your pants.
I go, "Look, just more of the same." And they go, "Oh." So they sort of want something like, and then
I think it's taking
fly the plane.
So what happens is in your first 5 to 10 years, you pretty much have absolutely no idea what you're doing and what does and doesn't work. In the second part of the 10 out of our 20 years, you start to realise what really does work, and you also start to really not care so much about what other people think of you. And I mean that in the best possible light. So we used to, and we still are, very innovative in terms of, you know, being the first to have an antipasto bar as our reception area, doing social media, putting all of this video content out onto social media.
Having fun.
If we listened, Mark, to what other people were saying, seriously, we would have stopped. Like that real estate agent that called and said, take that video off your Facebook page, you're making a fool of yourself. You know, if you listen to what other people think, you're never, ever going to do anything. You're never, ever going to have the courage to do anything.
You know
so
what?
I think it's taking what we know that works and just making it
Having
more and more and more.
fun,
Yeah.
looking after people, answering your phone, returning people's calls. I remember when I started the business, Norm Evangelides, buyer, seller of many properties, Greek aficionado, and he's, you know, Norm was 70 at the time, and I said, Norm, like, under a lot of pressure at the time, and I said, Norm, you know, what sort of advice would you give a young guy? You've been doing real estate stuff a lot, being a developer, investor, stuff like that. And he said, Mark, just in his Greek accent, he goes, just answer the phone. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, after all that, like, I thought I was going to say something like,
you're waiting for that.
Yeah,
moment.
and I said, what do you mean? He goes, the amount of years I've been dealing with real estate agents and I just don't get a call back. He goes, just answer the phone, call people back straight away, be on it. And I was like, oh,
but we also know what works now, guys, and I think that's important. We know social media works, so we're going to obviously really expand on that. The office has been phenomenal. You know, people are only just starting to take traction now of an office that has a cafe inside that doesn't look or feel like a real estate office. You know, many companies were saying we don't need an office.
No, in the window, not putting a sign in the window.
That's it.
Used to rock people.
And getting people to actually come in and have those conversations. But another thing that I want to address today, Mark, and I can see there's a whole lot of questions coming through. We'll come back to you guys shortly.
Yep.
But is how do we come up with the content? People ask us all the time.
In their office.
Every morning. Oh, there it is. And that was
2002 office with Christmas decorations.
Yeah. And
little reception at the there's a dog. Little reception, like there was a dog. Little reception at the front, and at the back there was like office and chairs for like 6 people.
And that was an old pie shop, guys. And we've been putting some old memories up all this week, but that was an old pie shop. And at the time, because we moved very quickly, Mark was 23 at the time, we literally had no money to do the renos, so we didn't do any. So we had the hole in the wall where the kebabs from next door, Neffy's Kebabs, used to waft through. We had cords all over the floors. I remember going down to Officeworks, buying the plastic mats to chuck over the top so people wouldn't trip over them because we couldn't afford flooring.
We had no photocopiers, so we bought 4 inkjet printers from Officeworks.
Oh, that's right. And then the phone system. So we couldn't afford the old Commander phone system. So what we did was we got mobile phones and we just diverted them to each other.
Yeah.
So we just got
engaged and went to the next mobile phone prepaid when that was engaged with the next mobile phone prepaid.
Yeah. So the overnight success has taken 20 years. And I tell you what, we are still learning. But the content, Mark, every morning, how are you coming up with this content?
What are you talking with people about? What about the people, Novak?
Yes, let's talk about. No, but I just answer that question first because it's the one that gets asked a lot.
Relevance.
How do you come up with the content every morning?
Relevance. So we'll at 7:30, whoever's in the live will dial in to me.
It's a well-oiled machine, I'll tell you that.
By phone, we will talk about stupid stuff a little bit. What did you do last night? We'll have a chit chat, and that's probably the best part, just catching up. Then we will say, okay, let's go through the content. What about this? What about that? What about narrow down to 1, 2, or 3 things?
Yeah.
Then we'll nail down a headline. Then they'll send the link over to me. I'm in the car like this, the studio.
Yep. So 7:30 every morning. 7:30 every morning, Mark's phone rings, and whoever is doing Novak morning minutes is on the other line. You could literally time your clock by it. Now it's a very, very well-oiled machine, but it wasn't always like that. There was a million and one mistakes that happened until we got it just about right.
That was very embarrassing.
Just about right.
Yeah.
And then how do we do it? So how do you how was this all streamed out?
I got a camera on my revision mirror. I'll show you what that looks like.
But what do you use?
See, that's mounted. No, you can't really see how it's mounted. See that?
So we're actually doing this from Mark's. We're doing this from Mark's car at the moment.
There you go. So see, it's mounted to the revision mirror. The phone is velcroed to the revision mirror, and it's got a charger in here.
It's at the perfect height.
It's the perfect height.
In terms of lighting, we're just using car lighting at the moment because where we're sitting, we've actually got some pretty decent light. And then how are you streaming it out? We're using StreamYard, are we?
StreamYard's the app. Yeah. Oh, it's a link. It's on that.
Okay. Yeah. So, guys, any questions? If you've ever got any questions, always feel free to reach out to us.
The people, guys.
Let's talk about the people. And then let's talk about these guys as well who are tuning in.
How hard has it been to train the crew to go live?
Okay. So we've got about 45 staff, and you'll find that you're seeing the same guys that are coming on the majority of the time. It's divided. You've got 20 staff that don't mind doing this whatsoever, and then we've got 20 staff that don't like doing it. But we try and entice everyone to just have a go. And that's why the Monday night Novak news, you'll see lots and lots of staff doing it, but the morning minutes, people go, I don't want to do it. Don't put me on the camera.
And then
how do we train people? It's just that consistency of doing the morning minutes over and over and over again. Billy, who's my assistant, who's 19. Phenomenal. Jess, who's Mark's assistant. How old's Jess, Mark?
23.
23.
22.
These guys are
21.
just so good at what they do.
Yeah.
So good at what they do. You know, and to get on a camera and to be able to do what they do at their age is quite incredible, but it's the consistency.
Yeah, and I think once you get stuff under your belt, that's when you just keep rolling it out. So, you know, with Jess, with Billy, their first a dozen, their first 2 dozen, their first 20 dozen, whatever, they just get more and more fluid, better and better. I actually think it's helped with my public speaking.
Yes, it does.
Because I know
sort of. I still don't love public speaking. I think people naturally think that if you're doing this sort of stuff, you're okay with public speaking. Yeah. Jonathan Creek's given me many a pep talk on public speaking. Yeah, really helped me before my big ARIC talk.
You're in front of 4,000 people. That's a bit different. But, you know, I think it helps with structure. You know, that you can actually get up, talk with people, structure a conversation with people, and you can connect. Like I had a lot of comments from a mate of mine that did Toastmasters for 10 years. And he was saying when we had the landlord the other day, he said the way he connected with the audience. So I think that, it's only going to improve all of your skills, even.
Absolutely, it will.
If you're delivering to clients every day, open houses, stuff like that, social media is going to help.
So let's wrap up with 20 years quickly. Yes. The people. We were going to talk about the people.
Yes.
Lots of people asking this week about staff culture and retention.
Yes.
We did numbers on staff retention rates at Novak, and it averaged out at 5.5 years.
Yes.
Was the average amount of time a staff member, I don't like saying staff member, but the crew, were with us for any one time. 5.5 years was the average. Longest standing staff member was 17 years. Someone who left us recently, just a year ago.
Yes.
But 17 years. And we've had, yeah.
Good years.
And we've had lots circa 10 years. Plenty of those people are still with us today as well. So I think, you know, let the numbers do the talking.
And thank you for people past and present.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Branka, Milosh, Stevan, Michael Silic, you know what, Ileana, Cleo. There's millions of them. And as Mark said, people that have been with us past, present and future. I tell you what, we've been blessed with our staff.
Yep.
We really have.
We've built some amazing agents and some amazing agents have built us.
Yep, that's for sure. And I feel like we all grew up together, Mark. You know, starting at 23. We've got a daughter who's 24. I mean, it's quite incredible to start a business at that age. We really grew up with a lot of these people, and I tell you what, we've had lots and lots of fun along the years. Looking through some of these photos.
Floods, we've had floods. Like, how many times in our old office we got flooded with the roof and insurance claims,
Yeah.
floods and new computers and old computers and water everywhere.
My God. But we've always been crazy. From Slurpee machines when we first started, the kids used to get off the school bus.
Yeah.
And we had a massive, Mark, how big was the fish tank that we had in the old office?
6 meters, 7 meters, 6 or 7 meter fish tank. It was 4, 5 ton of.
And we used to have an octopus in there, and then we had a little baby shark. But once it grew too big, we obviously released it.
But the octopus was 2 meters. Like, it was a big. Like, I used to tell people we had an octopus. They come in, because sometimes the thing would have its arms right out, extended, and people were like, what the hell?
And we'd have to feed it. We'd feed it prawns. The thing would eat better than us. The octopus would eat better than us.
Yeah.
But you know, the kids would get off the school bus in the afternoon because the fish tank was in the window, and it was quite. I mean, it was really quite something to see. They'd get off, we'd give them their free Slurpees, and they'd come and look at
we had the 3 flavour Slurpee machines. So
we did.
There used to be a queue out the door of the office of kids just getting their Slurpees, but then they got really noisy and bashing each other up, so then we had to sort of segregate, guys, wait outside, one of you in the office at a time, and then they'd all walk out, they'd all muck around outside.
We've done some crazy
walk out.
But even back then, we never had a reception area that looked like, for free, of course. Yeah. But even then, we had a reception area. It didn't look like a reception area.
The Apple Store came out, and I was like, we don't have to have a reception table anymore. And everyone was like, what do you mean? It's like, where's the receptionist going to go? And there's not going to be a receptionist. Someone's going to walk in, we're going to help them. And so we put an L-shaped bench along the back of the shop, rather than a right in the middle person sitting at a table, and you walk up to the table and everyone's like, really? It's like, yeah.
It was crazy. We've always done nothing. But also I want to say thank you to you guys, because you guys are the ones that are tuning in every single morning, that have made this social media such a success for our business. And so we just want to thank you. Jonathan Creek, you've been amazing, such a big supporter. And Mole, I mean, you know, I think the proof is in the pudding there with you guys as well, in terms of, you know, watching what others have been doing on social media, Mark, and using it in their own business. Luke has been, I don't think you've missed a morning, Luke. I think you've even been here on mornings when we didn't turn up.
Luke does all that jogging. He did the jogging. Every day he jogs for 10 kilometres, and he's done that for like 3 years straight. This is one consistent. Man.
Yeah, very, very consistent. But, you know, thank you so much to you guys that turn up all day, every day, supporting us. We really do. We notice it. We appreciate it. You know, we try to obviously, you know, make as many comments back to as many people as we possibly can, but we do not miss a single thing. We truly don't. So we just want to say a big thank you.
To give you an idea of the magnitude, 40,000 downloads on
it's phenomenal.
On our podcast at 40,000 downloads.
Absolutely
That's
phenomenal.
Like the numbers amalgamated look great. Sorry, the numbers.
And there's Jeff as well. Run Forest.
Run Forest. The numbers amalgamated are big. Sorry, the numbers separate are good, but that amalgamated over the amount of time.
I agree. And it's the same with all my social media channels, Mark. I think I've got about 40,000 followers collectively across all of them. But they're the right types of followers. Keep on doing what you love, guys. That's the biggest message out of this.
Yes.
Keep on doing what you love. And if you're crazy enough to dream it, you are crazy enough to do it. That's a wrap. That's a wrap.
That's right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Longer one than normal. That's it.
See you guys.
See ya. Mwah.